Hello everybody, welcome back to C&S Corvettes in Sarasota, Florida. It's your Corvette buddy Lyle here to talk to you about more interesting, exciting, and hopefully helpful Corvette stuff. Today's subject, one that started with a conversation I was having with our new video guy Tony this morning, and we got into some interesting territory. Let's get into it. Oftentimes when it comes to the content that you see on our channel, it's born out of one of two things. Either experiences we've had in the shop, which are like, oh gosh moments or aha moments, or it's the result of a conversation that occurred in the office. And, you know, like Tony this morning asked me, he said, Lyle, should we do a video comparing the Camaro and the Corvette? And I said, no, they're not really competitors. I mean, they're not the same thing. I mean, the Camaro is a great car on its own, but it's not up with the Corvette. And that began the conversation of what, in today's world, what is the Corvette's true competition in the market? Now, for the sake of today's conversation, and you guys are going to be a part of this, I want to see your comments below. I want your ideas. This is a conversation among all of us here. What cars on the market today, new or recently available, like 2019 or newer, would you consider to be actual competition for the Corvette? A two-seat, rear-wheel drive, high-powered, naturally aspirated sports car. Well, obviously everybody thinks of, like Tony did, the Camaro, the Mustang, and the Challenger, that group of cars. And yes, those cars are fast. They've got the big V8, they're rear-wheel drive. They can handle very well when set up correctly, but they're muscle cars. They're not sports cars. And while we could argue about whether the Corvette is a true sports car or more of a Grand Tour sporting car, I think the Corvette from the ground up is designed for a higher level of performance and a higher level of engineering than the Camaro, the Mustang, or the Challenger. That said, the Mustang has come a very long way since Ford quit making other cars and all of their best car guys went to work on the one Mustang. It's become a very good car. So, but I don't really consider them competition because they're not direct competitors. The only real direct competitor I can think of in the last 15 or 20 years for the Corvette was the Dodge Viper. The battles they had in IMSA and overseas at Le Mans and stuff are legendary. Corvette and C5R, C6R, and the Vipers going at it. But the last Viper was made in 2017, and I don't see them coming up with another one anytime soon. It was a much smaller production, kind of hand-built, more specialized car, where the Corvette is still very much a modern production automobile. The Viper was cool for what it was, but I don't know that a 2017 Viper, other than the cool factor, which it does have, would really compete with a new C8. Now, just so you understand, when we talk about cars in this video today, we're talking about base models across the board because, when we get into some of these other ones, the base model may be $65,000 and the model that everybody actually wants is $180,000. But we're going to try to compare apples to apples here. So we know you can buy a Corvette Z51 Coupe for $69 grand all day long. Dodge Viper, when it was available in 2017, it was $92,000. So it was definitely higher priced than the Corvette of that time. Another one that's constantly brought up when it comes to comparisons with Corvette is the 911, the Porsche. Now, that's another legendary race car battle that's been going on for 20 plus years in endurance racing. The 911 is legendary. The 911 is probably better built for track driving and competitive driving right out of the box, right off the factory floor, than any other car on the planet. You really don't need to change anything about a 911 to go blast hot laps at Sebring or Daytona. You really don't. However, that does come at a bit of a premium. 2025 Porsche 911 dead base is $122,000, and they can go way up from there. So definitely, I mean, you're talking almost double the price of a Corvette for a similarly equipped 911. Is the 911 a better engineered car? Yes. Is the 911 going to hold its value better in the long term? Absolutely. Does everybody have $122 or $152 or $182,000 to throw at a two-seat sports car? No. A lot more people have $69,000 to put toward a sports car, and that's what matters. The Porsche Cayman legitimately is probably the closest actual competitor to the Corvette. Its base price of $72,000 is right there. The power is within a few horses. It is also mid-engined. It is a smaller car, much more a European sports car than an American sports car. American sports cars tend to be a little, you know. But if you were going to compare the two, I think that's the closest competitor, price-wise, performance-wise, and value-wise in the market. Now, Porsche Cayman drivers and Corvette people tend to be very different people. But I think that those two, if you really were like, Lyle, just tell me the two I should compare, those would be the two, because they're going to be the two best cars for the money that you can buy. Some of the other runner-ups, in my mind at least, are the Audi R8, which of course is no longer being produced, but they were $158,000. Again, a lot more than a Corvette. The Acura NSX, which has never really caught on in its latest iteration in America. I appreciate it for what it is. It is a good looking car. It's got some really awesome tech in it. But at $169,000, it doesn't make me go, oh man, even at that money, it's so good. It's just, it is what it is. I nothing against Acura. It's just that car doesn't really float my boat. Maybe it does yours. Tell me in the comments below. We have the Nissan GT-R, very competent all-wheel drive car for $121,000 base price. Now that car, again, really competent, but I mean, that car is getting a little long in the tooth here. I mean, that car's been around forever. And the fact that they're still able to get that kind of money for that car tells you how good it is, but it is not a fresh take. I mean, it's been around. And I don't know how special it is anymore to see one on the road. It's still cool, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I don't think it has the visual pop of a modern Corvette. And then one other one we talked about was the McLaren 570S. Now, it's a $190,000 car used, but you can get them for just over $100 in the used market, and they're awesome. Carbon fiber monocoque, the gull-wing doors, all that cool tech, super light, super fast, little tendency to catch fire and some really spotty reliability makes them kind of less usable on a daily basis. But, you know, even, honestly, even the Toyota Supra, kind of like the BMW Supra, those cars, I didn't like them when they first came out, but they're really growing on me. And they're, you know, the GR Supra, the higher model, trim model is going to be 65 or 75 grand. It's right in there with the Corvette. And if you really want a front engine, rear wheel drive, purpose-built sports car, that's a reasonable competitor. I don't think it quite stands up to the level of the Porsche Cayman, but it is a really, really good car. So that's another one you might want to consider. I don't know. It's tough. You know, I mean, people have written many articles and books on this exact subject over the years, and I'm sure this conversation has been held between car buddies a billion times in the last 40 years, because Corvette's always kind of been in its own place in the market. And part of that, I think, is that nobody really wanted to try to knock it off, because it was just the development cost, and to try to get that kind of cachet and that kind of following and faith in an automobile that the Corvette faithful have in their car, that's tough. It only happens a few times in any industry, and it definitely happened for the Corvette. Anyway, those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? What is the best direct competitor for the Corvette? Or is there a deal out there, a car out there today that you feel is a better car for the same or less money than the Corvette? Put that in the comments below too, and I'll be in the comments as I can to kind of chime in and answer and whatnot, but I'm really interested to expand this conversation just beyond me and Tony, because I think this is one of those, man, you can really get into this. So enjoy it. Talk to you soon.